Hello YouTube, this is React City and this is on the React Cast. I'm Johnny.
I'm Rose.
I'm Nikki.
And this is the React Cast number 25.
Well,
minus 10.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
we're like start with fun facts a little later in the day, but here we go. So the first one comes from Kefkael Filata, and he was telling us the other day that Bonolenov is one of the oldest members of the troupe. And he was in York New, but we didn't actually get to see him much in the background at the time. You remember the York New when they were killing everybody in Mafia?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a transmuter, so I didn't really pick that up from his actions. But it turns out he can turn himself into anything. He was Jupiter.
Oh!
He threw himself.
Let me just yeet myself real quick. I
didn't put it together at all.
I
Did not put that together.
Yeah, I mean, he turned himself into a tribal dancer for the prologue. But Jupiter, how's that connected at all?
So the whistle thing is just him. It's just a thing that his body can do.
Yeah.
And then he's Jupiter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Crazy. But they said he was there at York New, we just didn't see him?
Or he was in the background.
Oh.
Yeah, but he was there. All the fan members were there.
Did not notice.
Did we see him?
I remember seeing a mummy guy, but I
There
don't
was
remember.
some, there was some.
I remember seeing him before. I don't remember him at York New.
Mm-hmm. But I saw an interesting comment on Bonolenov, his name, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So he wears the boxer gloves and he's in a mummy outfit, and it just really throws you off. Like, why is he wearing that given his skill set? It didn't really make much sense.
Yeah.
But I saw someone who kind of put it in a way that I can believe.
Yeah.
So you can obviously go with the meta, it looks cool, and so that's why the actual creator did that. Or boxer gloves on his costume, because he's protecting himself so no one knows that he can do the whistling thing. But two, the boxing gloves to give the illusion that he's a close range fighter. But when you watch him, all his moves are long range.
Yeah.
So it may be a deception tactic.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, I kind of just assumed that the
I never hit
wrappings
play on
were.
the audio. So we're gonna do it all again.
Oh,
Yeah, so sorry about that. I never actually hit the play button on the recording the audio, but we can pretend that was good quality and that'll be good enough for all of us. I think that's, claps all around.
Yay!
But yeah, for the bundle, the last thing I had about him was, for you guys had called that the Jupiter has a song to it or stuff like that.
Yeah.
You could, for a split second, you could actually hear the actual Jupiter song as it was being thrown.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
By Gustav Holst.
You have a
That's
good
his
memory about a musician. I don't know what this accent is.
I don't know either.
Oh, cool. All
Yeah, I
right.
kind of assume it seemed like an anime-y thing to do. It's like if you're gonna have somebody who's slightly musical hurl the whole planet at another
it has to
person,
connect to
you
something.
gotta use the musical something there. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, the planet's got a song. I can use it, right?
Yeah.
Stop throwing things in because you think they're cool. Tagashi stuff. But also, I just kind of want to get you guys' feel on Code Geass overall. I know we bring it up quite often, but it's been going, it's going through the up and down phases, and we've talked about that. Now, in retrospect, how do you feel about the way the show plays its hand? Do you think it's like, because this is held as one of the most masterful shows, So, like, would you rate it there? Like, even if it plays with your emotions and it's annoying, as a production show, is it that good? Is it great?
It definitely subverts your expectations. So if you're a person who, like our mother, can predict everything that's going to happen, then the show will be good for you because you won't predict anything that will happen.
I think the reason why it's so good story-wise is because it's not afraid to do the thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, because in anime sometimes, logically the guy says like, I'm gonna the main character's the girl that he likes is engaged to some other king or something. It's like, logically she's just gonna marry the king, but in anime world they're gonna find a way to get to be together forever,
Yeah.
But like, logically, if this was in Code Geass world, she would just marry the king.
Yes.
And then everybody would be super emo for a while.
Yeah.
Because logically, people dying left, right, and center in a war makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're close to the main character or not.
Yeah. So I guess what you're saying too is they're not afraid to follow what has to happen. No matter, like, there's nobody who's protected by plot, really.
I think they enjoy that.
Yes, like, you can't. There's no one, and I. That's why I'm afraid of, like, even the main characters. Like, nobody is safe. They can throw anyone out the window at any moment. So it's like, maybe that's one of the reasons, because it really
Hmm.
subverts your expectations. You
Yeah.
you can't trust your safe place in a plot.
Code Geass is like, in a world where nobody has plot armor.
I want that guy to make what a Code Geass.
On his trailer, animated on his
Yes.
trailers.
Yeah.
Man, whatever happened to have you guys watched that in a while?
I
He
haven't, but I know he's
big
popular.
on TV at some point. So maybe
Really?
he stopped. Yeah, he got like a TV thing.
Oh.
He was in some ads for some. I forget what
I think
channel.
it was a car.
Was
I
it a
think he did a
car?
car ad. I don't remember.
Just
Yeah.
one?
I don't know.
That was enough. He retired.
He was-
So-
No, but he basically broke into TV
Yeah,
world,
yeah.
and you know what that means usually.
Exclusivity.
Yeah. So I don't know if he kept going. I actually don't know what the channel's doing.
Neither do I.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he did well if he did.
I mean, to be honest, I never like ever watched honest trailers.
Oh,
To
yeah.
me, it was Cinema Sins is still pretty much
Yeah,
the only thing
Cinema
that I
Sins.
watched.
Yeah, but I watched a couple honest trailers. When I discovered it, I kind of binge watched a bunch, and it's like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
We also got something from Code Geass here that Raul Ignacio, he was talking about the whole show in general, and we're going to skip over most of it because there's a lot of spoilers in there. But there is one spot I'm going to bring up, so I'm going to say spoiler warning for episode 19 of season 2 for Code Geass. So, how do you guys feel about Rolo? Because as a character, he kind of came in and he was an interloper. Like, do you guys see him as a good addition, or was he simply just a reflection for the character? Like, was he there for Lelouch to show his dedication to Nunnally, and that was it, or was there? Did you feel like there was more to him and his own story or something like that, or was he just a strategy?
I think he is this whole show.
Mm.
Like, sometimes we love. It's like, oh, Rolo, he's such a teddy. I hate you, Rolo. I hate you.
Yes.
Die now.
And
it's
then he dies, and you're like, no, Rolo.
Don't come back. I didn't mean it.
Yeah, you make a very good point there. I didn't think about him being a reflection of Lelouch. That's a good point, because it kind of shows like Rolo was very like dedicated to this one singular focus, regardless of the safety or the emotional ties that could have grown around him. He's like, no, he only cared about this one relationship to the detriment of all others, and even to his own health.
Yeah.
So I guess that really does show like a more, I don't know, obvious like more inside out version of Lelouch.
Yeah, because
I didn't think about that until now.
Because when you think about it, Lelouch is kind of doing the same thing. He's basically like
More flamboyant.
You know that. And also like what he does for Nunnally, he's like, I'm gonna make your world, and he's never asked her what she wanted.
Yeah.
The only thing she wants is her brother, and she's constantly telling him like, I'm happy, I'm good, we good, fam.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I make your world, and that's basically what Rolo was doing. He's like, I'm gonna make your world to Lelouch by killing everybody else. But yeah. But again, that's kind of what Lelouch is doing, except it's like he's just killing extras, so we don't care.
Yes, it's just extras.
Pretty much. And you know, it's funny. Last episode we had an especially visceral reaction to the way the show is told, and I saw some comments that were pretty much going towards the, hey, this is kind of Deus Ex Machina in terms of making a bad thing happen, because why would the Black Knights just immediately like believe Snizel and stuff like that? Now we had a very impressive. I'm actually going to call you out by name because it was just the amount of dedication and heart.
Wait, is that the comment?
That's the reply.
That is an essay.
This is the initial comment. It's by Ryan Rodriguez, and he breaks down in detail every single point that he really didn't like that the Black Knights made here. And you put effort in, man.
Man.
The caps lock is out of this world.
If I could grade you, you would get a passing grade just for this.
That sounds like an insult.
Yeah, it's like you would get a passing.
No, I mean, you would ace the classes.
Look, you changed your mind halfway through that one.
Listen, I didn't bring yourself to roast you, all right? I think it's a pretty good job, you know? But my favorite part of this whole thing is on point 6. He's like, Ogi making the call for the Black Knights to betray Zero makes no sense. He believes in a woman who tried to kill him over his leader. Freaking simp. he just put that little part in there. Yeah, I read the whole thing and I agreed with pretty much all of it.
Yeah, me too.
Mhm. Yeah.
There was a couple reservations I had. Yeah.
No, you go.
Oh yeah, I was just saying all that to say that there was also a response by someone named K-Mac, and he also goes into detail trying to answer every single point there. So I just thought this is a really good example where we talked about before how ReZero has some amazing fans, and they were able to tell us a lot of things without spoiling things a lot of the time, and they were able to theorize with us without telling us too much details or holding back too much. So I thought it was a really good job, and this is a really good example of how invested Code Geass fans are. So I just thought it's pretty cool. I read through the first big part of this, but at the time I just didn't have time to go through all of it. So just I'm just saying
The
that's
two
a good job.
parts. I think
It had to be 2 parts.
it was written in Word and formatted,
Copy-pasted.
properly formatted. And then he's like, okay, this is going to take 2 comments. Let me mark it out.
But
Spoiler markers and everything.
he had a spoiler for Death Note down there. It's not a big thing, but yeah, it's just this shows how controversial this episode was.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, do you guys feel like? I mean, no, you said it didn't seem like it made more sense for Black Knights to believe.
Yeah.
Right. It just is out of nowhere. Hey, we'd like to speak with you, but without your leader,
Yeah. And then it's like, oh yeah, sure, let's totally fine. On your ship that holds a nuke. Sure, this is fine. We're not. This is mutual.
Yeah.
Platonic. It's good. And then they're like,
Platonic.
and then they're like, so betray your leader. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
here's a bunch of papers that could be easily fabricated with like nothing else to back it up.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I could even see them like saying, "This is really suspicious.
Mhm.
Let's confront him."
Yeah.
Or let's wear masks so you can't do whatever. If this magic is real, wear masks. All of
Magic
us
is
talk
real.
to him, just in case it is.
Yeah.
Like all of us talk to him, so if he tries to pull anything, we can see. But they were going to just kill him without having a chance to speak.
Yeah, that's kind of excessive.
That's what pushed it for me.
Yeah. The only reason I don't really give what's his name Toto a pass. The only reason I'm kind of like is because of one of the people he trusted the most just died, telling him that Zero
Don't trust him.
betrayed everybody. Don't trust him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that he killed like a whole city of women and children and stuff. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, he disappeared for like 3 years. 3 years or a year? I think it was a year. Zero disappeared for a year. Came back, and you totally backed him up. Then you were totally fine,
right?
Your threshold for the bull that he pulls is very high.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this?
Mm-hmm. And his guys were upset too, and they're like, he literally betrayed us. We're all in jail. Half of us got executed.
And Toto was like, no.
He's
good.
Trustable. Like he's gotten us this far. Was basically always his.
That's exactly
his
what it
thing.
was.
And at this moment, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
When what's his name, Diehard brought up, he got us this far, and he's like,
that doesn't matter.
Yeah, after it's the only thing that mattered before, and all of a sudden it's not.
That was your reason.
Remember, they're like, hey, why did you abandon us? For the good of the people. That doesn't explain anything. I won't explain anything. And they all accepted it.
Okay.
Yeah. Good old Code Geass.
Good old Code Geass, man.
It maybe he was just like backed in a corner. It's like, we got to make this happen at this point. Just do it, man. And the writer's like,
oh, you're talking about the author.
At a meta perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was just like a more nail in the coffin way that they did it,
Yeah.
It's like it's absolute, like maybe they saw him Geass somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Schneisel was like, let's hide in secret over here and make a man do the thing, and then Geass.
Yeah, or maybe if they suspected something was going to happen when Schneisel was talking to him in the car, and Guilford does that thing, maybe like had that recorded. It's like, Guilford, who is one of ours, just totally took off. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw in like something that happened that they could have used, show a video instead of like a random recording, a snippet recording, mind you, of a conversation.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
It was like, did you kill Yuffie? Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
It's like it was such like this question, this answer, it would have been easy to like snip it back and forth. But anyway, that's just me being logical. Sorry about that.
yeah, get your logic out of here. But someone was asking a question about. I think a long time ago we brought this up in the podcast, where a lot of reactors do similar shows, and some people are like, I don't get it. I want to see some people do some new shows, some more interesting shows than the ones that because when you see a new reactor, there's kind of a larger list of stuff they normally go through, and I've seen it a dozen times with reactors that I've watched. But there's a good reason for that is those are great shows for reactions. Like there's some new shows that come out today that just don't make for good reactions.
Yeah, like Spy Family.
Spy
It was a really good anime. I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't like reaction and discussion really.
Yeah, or even like comedies. Like when we did Cells at Work.
Cells at Work. Yeah.
We have a little bit to talk about with Code Black because it's more serious, but the first one I remember it was just pretty much. We're
sitting
laughing
there watching.
Yeah, and we would discuss the science that they talked about.
Yeah,
it wasn't really.
We would try.
We would try. It's like, so why do you think they call them out?
And you were like, I learned this in my biology class. It is this thing. I think
it's a thing. I'm sure it is.
It's like okay.
For some reason, it's frozen in my mind that time. You're like. They were like, hey, it's cooler near the armpits for some reason. And then you're like, hey, I know why. It's because when you have a heat stroke, they put ice packs underneath your arms. I'm like, I actually learned something. And that's the only time I can remember us having a decent conversation about that show. Yeah, but I don't want to, I've said it before. I feel like the big thing that we contribute is the discussions and having good back and forth and talking about in depth about certain parts. Sure, we don't do it all the time, but that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
And so it's easier when we're working with something that lets us do that easier.
Yeah.
The Ranking of Kings is a funny show, but there's a lot of Ranking of Kings.
It sounded like you said King of Kings. I'm like, what's that show?
That was a good show. But Ranking of Kings, it's got a lot of implications and stuff it doesn't talk about, but we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And especially when I'm editing, I can see it a lot. Like, I think I brought it up how in Death Note, I can see, like, long pauses of nothing because Death Note's a show you gotta watch.
Yeah, you gotta intake a lot of information.
Yeah, they speak slowly and all that. So you get to see spikes on, like, the audio log.
Yeah, like when something exciting happens, like, oh my gosh! And then we're back to watching.
Exactly what it is. Spike, nothing. Spike, nothing. But speaking of which, I wanted to tell you guys, well, I think I told you already, but tell you about how, you remember how, for a long time, you guys don't know, I've had this issue with my computer, where I have like a terabyte of space on my main drive, the SSD, and that's where I used to do the editing, because it's faster to export and render. For the longest time, I just been running out of space, and I had no idea why. As a day would go by, I'd have like 11 gigabytes. I'd be like, okay, I'm good for the next couple days. 11 gigabytes.
Oh my gosh.
It got bad. And the next day it'd be like 6. The next day 2. And I'm in editing software. And I'm just editing. Nothing has happened like in an hour. And it's like, listen, this has crashed. It's like, why has this crashed? And everything's suddenly freezing. And then a warning comes up.
Why your computer stop you like, listen, we're done.
That's exactly what it is. He pulls me aside, has a warning. But then the warning comes up, it's like, your computer has run out of space. You need to free some stuff up or we're going to start crashing. Like, you're going to strike.
A very polite computer.
Very straight to it.
Yeah. Frank, I like it.
So I looked on Steam. I only had like 1 or 2 games at any given time on the local drive, and just didn't make any sense. So I finally found something called Registry, where it breaks down in documents, like as a tree folder, you can basically find exactly where the space is going. And as I looked in the local regular drive, where pretty much everything I keep is in like program files, and it's only 100 gigabytes. So I'm like, 100 gigabytes.
Where is everything else?
Yeah, the OS is like 300. So pretty much everything else is just in one spot. And I follow in the documents. Man, my throat is going. Follow in documents, and there it is. Wondershare, 500 gigabytes. Can you guess what it was? Oops, 1 second. Can you just put this back in? I can't see it. 500 gigabytes. I go into there and I open up Wondershare. I go into outputs. Nope. Projects. Nope. Proxies. You know what proxies are? They are JPEGs that are rendered smaller. Basically, every frame that you see in Wondershare, every one that you ever look at, it's rendered smaller so that it is faster for you to go through. That's all it is. Not only that, you can delete that whole folder and it will never affect anything because it creates it on the fly, instantaneously.
Yeah.
The only issue is it never deletes any of it
by itself.
All these years.
Oh my gosh.
500 gigabytes.
gigs.
My computer's so fast now. It's so fast. It's like I bought a brand new PC. My core is going faster, rendering, everything's great.
Try to update your computer. Remember you were like looking for parts, like I gotta do something for my computer.
I gotta get. He was about to get a new CPU and motherboard.
I probably still will. But got a little bit more mileage.
Oh my gosh. I have to tell my friend, I have a friend Mono who's like, he's struggling trying to figure out what his problem is too.
Wistry.
I'll tell him Wistry. I'll tell him about that because he does graphic design and he does videos as well. So I wonder if he has Wondershare.
He also does animation.
Animation too. Do you think it's
stuff?
Rendering? It might have proxy
that's
folders
it.
too.
Yeah.
Wistry.
Wistry.
It all comes down to,
Wistry.
I imagine they all have proxy folders. It's just a question if they delete them or not.
Yeah.
Because I emptied it out and then went back into an old thing. It didn't do any issues, just created new proxies instantaneously.
Yeah.
And they're like a megabyte or kilobytes big. So it's just been years of this stuff piling up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I wonder if there's. You probably wouldn't do it because you don't get into coding, but I'm sure like you could make like a little.
Like a macro,
little macro
Yeah.
that once you exit Wondershare, it automatically deletes the proxy folder.
Yeah, it could. But it's so small. That it's
You
something I
could
don't
just like
need
do it
to.
every couple of months whenever you
I
remember.
could do like half a year.
Yeah.
It's so small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just years of 500 gigs. Oh my gosh.
I don't even know when we got Wondershare, but it's got to be like 5+ years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I think it was like 2018 or 2019.
I think we started using it at that point, but we bought it like a long time ago.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we bought the license because Mom was using it first for a while, and then eventually I just started using it. So I was saying that to like bring up and wonder, what editing softwares do you guys use? Because I know occasionally you have used it in the past, like editing software, and you to use editing software. I think something about DaVinci.
Yeah.
Does it have any issues? Because Wondershare.
I've been trying to convince them to go to DaVinci. But actually DaVinci is doing a lot better. DaVinci is free editing. The free version has a lot that it offers. The problem that I had, why I didn't push you to go into DaVinci, number one, you bought Wondershare. I was like, might as well just get your fill out of it.
Yeah.
Number two, DaVinci kept crashing for some reason. And I was like, I don't want to like suggest he gets DaVinci and then he doesn't get into saving properly. It's my fault, you know? So, but it stopped crashing and they got autosave. And that was important for me. So autosave, even if it crashes, which it does like occasionally.
It's just a regular part of
I mean, what program doesn't crash randomly these days?
What?
Yes, there's so many. Like Adobe.
Wondershare.
Yeah, Wondershare does too. You're the only one who doesn't have crashes randomly?
I'm also the only one who doesn't have an SSD. I wonder if this is a thing.
no, it's not the SSD.
No. But yeah, so DaVinci is really good for programming, and I've gotten used to it. Like, it's very smooth compared to Adobe Premiere. It's so much easier to learn.
Yeah.
And it has pretty much everything. I think even the green screening was a lot better in DaVinci than Premiere or I think Wondershare. So, but I did also use Premiere to edit for a while. It was just a little more complicated. Some things were good though.
I'm just scared of learning a new editing software.
Yeah.
I'm not doing like super high intensity animations yet or something, you know. It's just I'm comfortable.
And also you have like all the shortcuts down so
Yeah.
you can go quickly. And if you
I've
go
made
into a
them.
new program, you have to relearn the shortcuts. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Like XE.
And I mean, honestly, if I were you, I wouldn't switch from Wondershare because you bought it and you get all the updates.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it updates a lot.
Yeah. So I wouldn't change either.
You use them?
I used to edit for fun basically, and I used to use Adobe Rush, which is more like a condensed version of Premiere for like on the go editing.
Yeah.
Really super beginner friendly. Like it's really
basic.
Yeah. You have your transitions, you can cut things, you can fade in and out and all that stuff, which is it was fun to use. And that's pretty much the only reason I like it is because it's beginner friendly. Whenever I went into Premiere once, I clicked on that thing.
You just
then I X'd it out.
I know.
It looks so complicated.
I know.
Like
all of Adobe products except for the more recent ones are like that. Like you go in, you look around, you're like, nope, like this isn't please.
I'm in the wrong place.
You're in the wrong neighborhood.
That's what I used to do with Illustrator because I really wanted to get into vector art.
Yeah.
And I tried so many times. I'd go into Illustrators like, where's the pen tool? There it is. Click did not do what I wanted. Leaves.
Like, going from Adobe Photoshop to Illustrator is so weird. I don't know why their tools do wildly different things.
Yeah.
It's like it's named the same thing, but it's not the same thing. Why?
2 different teams.
Definitely two
From the
different
east, from the
devs.
west.
Oh yeah.
But you also use Adobe After Effects.
Yeah, I use After Effects.
Which is a really good program. I think we
I
need
enjoy
to.
it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like trying to transition out of Adobe, Effects, After Effects is the hardest one to find what is it? A partner switchover program.
Yeah.
Too. Like there's ones there switches for Illustrator and Photoshop and Premiere, but there's like nothing for After Effects. After Effects is like in its niche, unless you might know something.
There is a switch for After Effects, and I forgot the name for it right now. But everybody says it doesn't have as much as After Effects has.
Yeah, Adobe has a lot of money behind it.
Yeah, After Effects is like heavy in effects that you can do.
Yeah.
Especially since it's also like it's mainly for like animation stuff. A lot of animators use it like almost exclusively, like in conjunction with Illustrator vectors and stuff. So it's like it's got a lot of features that a lot of people probably don't want to give up.
Yeah.
You trying to get into animating?
I did some animations. That was, and I still find it super fun. It's just there's a learning curve, and I have to get over that learning curve. I have to look at the curve and decide to climb up it first.
It's funny that you should say that. The first time I ever heard about Adobe Photoshop, that memory stuck in my head because the person was like Adobe Photoshop versus GIMP. Steep learning curve for Photoshop, and it's like
scarred you.
Yes, I got scarred because I was really excited. I was like, oh, I want to try Photoshop because my uncle Shafi got us Adobe Photoshop, like I want to say CS3 or something at the time, and I was so excited. I was like, yeah, I finally get to try it. And they were like, it's such a steep learning curve. Everybody was like, it's such a steep learning curve. So I was like scarred. I was like, I'm scared of Adobe. So it took a long time for me because just like I did with Illustrator, I'd go in, try something, and leave because it was so much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, the thing that I found with like learning those kinds of pretty much all of the programs, editing in like video and pretty much anything else, is do exactly what somebody else is doing. Find a tutorial online and just do exactly what they do and do a bunch of that. And eventually you'll get the hang of it because that's how I learned how to edit photos for the first time. That's how I got into graphic design. That's what I started learning. How I started learning animating in After Effects and all that. Even Filmora. That's how I learned to edit in Filmora.
You know, this is going to be a weird transitionary analogy for that, but you know, and also as I play some really complicated games, like the hardest one I can think of is probably. Let me think of the hardest one so I can impress you guys. Like Aurora 4X. Like that one's like basically playing a Microsoft spreadsheet or Dwarf Fortress. You know, those kind of things.
Yeah.
There we go. But
I know that.
but the way I find it's easiest to learn anything is to do it. Okay. I will walk forward. How? How do I walk forward, Google? Done. I need to kill this thing. How do I attack? You know, like and slowly you get the basics, and I found it's the same thing with editing. I needed to know how to cut. It's pretty easy. This is just right there. How do I merge videos? How do I do this? How do that? And a lot of it you could do intuitively.
Yeah.
Like it's like okay, it's probably in the right click menu. There it is. You know, how do I reduce the opacity? Stuff like that. It's intuitive, but you learn as you go.
Yeah, and also one thing that also helps if you have any experience with it, like a couple programs on the computer, you can transition between programs because, like you said, the intuitiveness is only intuitive because you've learned similar things in other programs. So like there's a file, there's a home, there's a options, there's a view of the like options at the top. So like other programs are gonna have similar things. So it's like okay. If I want to change the window, it's going to be in the view or something, you know? So you kind of have that becomes intuition.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier. But I feel bad for anybody who's like not computer savvy trying to get into editing. That's when it's hard.
If you come at it and you've no real experience in it or even fixing
computer
games.
experience.
Yeah. Like look, we can like build our own computers at this point. That's a very daunting task for most people.
Yeah.
You know, like I could fix most issues that I've ever encountered with my computer because I broke my computer trying to mod games throughout the years as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, and because of that, I learned how to like edit the registry, which is actually something you probably really shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But I learned how to do it, and like I could teach my friends how to do it, and like, what the heck is this witchcraft? Because they just don't know, but you learn through doing. You
Oh
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like taboo. I haven't even edited the registry. No, I have done it, but it was like to fix a major problem. But
Just a modern game for me.
no, I would never do it for that. But yeah, I've seen people like, oh yeah, just go into the registry, do this for like a simple fix. I'm like, I'm not going into the registry. It's like, remember you were telling me how I told you you can go into the settings and change it from double click to single click,
Oh, yeah.
but only if you're really good at the computer or something like that when I was little. So it's, to
Yeah.
me, that's one of those things where when I was little, I learned don't touch the registry. So it's like, stay away,
It's
man.
Forbidden.
Forbidden.
Mhm.
For me, that is basically like System 32. Like I can code and stuff, but
Mhm.
for whatever reason, program files freaks me out.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know why.
Oh,
I don't want to go in there.
the
The
System
basic
32
one.
Windows one freaks me out. But
Yeah.
I go into program files all the time looking for things.
I don't know, but like whenever I go into anything, I have to go into program files for. I pass System 32. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't break the computer.
Yeah. Like the meme I showed you the other
Yes,
day.
I just remembered it.
Yeah,
It was like,
it-
can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Just delete System 32.
I'm a bad virus. Can you just do it for me?
yeah.
But there's something I wanted to kind of bring up about the polls and stuff. So we're coming up to the end of 2 shows relatively soon.
Yeah.
Code
3
Geass,
maybe.
3?
Yeah.
Code Geass,
Death Note.
Death Note.
Yeah.
Death Note's
Death
great.
Yeah.
Note's 2 episodes behind Code Geass for finishing.
Well,
Really?
how many is left in Death Note?
I think 37, right?
Is
Oh,
it
okay,
37?
so-
No, not left, but the 37 total. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Oh, okay. So we have a little more time for that.
Mhm.
Okay.
35. But yeah,
And
it's
ranking.
running out.
Ranking's definitely close.
Ranking's definitely done. But
Yeah.
the issue is like we've always had like most of the shows. We had 2 shows which were poll shows and 2 shows which were shows we picked because we started out with I think 2 shows at a time.
Mhm.
But we're running into time constraints, and so we're gonna have to cross a weird bridge of do we replace the shows with more shows immediately? Because one show is a poll show, which is what's it called? Death Note.
Mhm.
Ranking of Kings is an R-pick show.
Mhm.
So we might run into a time period here where we only have 3 shows. Like,
Oh.
I mean, I feel like that might be for the best for right now.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Especially since we're going into a season with so many like season 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought that's where you were going, because we have to kind of leave space for
Mhm.
3 or 4 new shows coming
2
in
this
fall.
year.
Oh, it's 2 this year.
Mhm.
Okay. It just sounded like
Yeah.
so many.
They're
Yeah.
gonna run into each other.
Yeah.
All I hear is like, this thing is coming back. This
This
thing is
thing-
coming
yes.
back. And this thing is like, it's happening tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
3 in February.
Oh, wow.
The Mandalorian is also coming back in February.
Oh.
What?
With Bob Psycho and Vinland Saga.
Oh, I thought those were October.
October is My Hero Academia and it might be Finland. I don't think it's Finland. It might be Finland. There's another show with it though.
I remember
when
I was
is-
actually listening to the episode you were saying Mob Psycho and Vinland.
I have it written down. Just
Okay.
When
well,
is Attack on Titan coming back?
This
Has
fall.
it been this fall? This fall?
this
Okay.
fall.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
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 Yeah. So it's that issue of it's a part of the Patreon thing where we give you guys polls,
Mhm.
but it's also just pragmatic logic. It's like we can't put out polls when we're already crunched.
Yeah.
And we can't do more shows, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking we might end up in a situation where we just have 2 shows for a little bit till we wait for other shows that are coming back to pick back up.
Mhm.
Because we're all on different work schedules. Like you 2 are on 2 different work schedules. You kind of meet up at the end of the day, but I'm off doing my own thing for most of the day as well.
Yeah.
So as it is, making the shows that go right now work is an issue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know? So Ranking of Kings dropping off, I don't think we're going to be replacing that. We probably won't be replacing that for right now.
Mhm.
Because this was an R-pick show, so it's not really an issue. Death Note finishing. I was thinking maybe it might get replaced by a poll show, a short one.
Mhm.
Which the last poll show that nearly won was between Steins Gate and Evergreen.
Evangelion.
No,
Something
Ev-
something
my-
Evergarden.
Yes,
Evergarden?
Evergarden. I can't remember his name, but that nearly won, and I was
Yeah.
shocked because I knew Steins Gate is a big show, and Evergarden nearly won. I was like, this must be a great show, but it's only 12 episodes, so that could be a good fix, and maybe
Kind of short-term fill-in.
maybe a halfway mark to meet the patrons, because I don't want them to feel like our poll votes didn't matter. But I also don't know if putting out another poll that if it ends in the direction that I don't think it'll end, we won't
Or
be able
don't
to do
want.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, why put out a poll? You're hoping they won't vote for this one.
Yeah, it
you
doesn't
know?
make any sense.
It's like, for common sense, reasons, we're going to go with this show that nearly won the last poll, I think. Obviously, it's not hammered out yet because we're just talking about it right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to make it clear to you guys that
We're thinking
thinking about it, and there's some time issues.
Yeah. We're related.
Do you have any memories of Yu-Gi-Oh? Because the mangaka actually passed away.
Oh, Yamate Yugi.
That's from Karibo.
No, it was in the thing.
It's in the
It
show?
was in the show.
Oh, that's a good meme.
Yeah.
But he died of drowning.
Oh,
July 6th. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how old was he?
61. He went snorkeling.
No.
60 flat, sorry.
Oh my gosh, that sucks.
Yeah. Very
Oh my
unfortunate.
goodness.
drowning is the worst. That's like
That's like the worst way to die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. I remember that being like one of the first shows that I considered anime that I saw. Because no one really considered Dragon Ball anime.
Yeah, it was
besides.
just one of the shows that were on TV.
Yeah, but when you look at Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like this is different.
Look at that hair.
Yeah.
It's 2 different colors.
3.
Do you remember much about it?
I remember the abridged. That's the only real memory I
Fresh
have of
memory?
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
I remember knowing it existed, like the card game and stuff, but I never watched the show.
Yeah, I remember watching it a little bit, but it's so far away that I can't tell you what happened. I remember the Maximilian guy with the super long. You remember the silver? No,
Yeah.
not Maximilian. Pegasus.
Pegasus, yeah.
Yeah, I remember Pegasus, but I don't remember anything about him. He's just like a flash in my mind when I see him, and then there's all the little Karibo abridged version of the show.
Yeah.
Did you not watch it at all?
Never watched it. A lick of the show.
Wow.
Not a lick.
What's the first anime you saw ever?
Pokemon.
I remember seeing Pokemon. I never really watched Pokemon.
I watched it. My favorite part was when the pink hair and blue hair girl and guy got like launched into the sky every time, and like
they got yeeted.
Got yeeted at the end every time. It's like then the what? And the heroes won again! Because I was very young. It's like, yay, we win! You guys are losers!
Oh, I just remember the first anime that I probably watched, or I think it was an anime. I don't even know.
Yeah.
There was something about these hamsters.
Oh,
like there's just a bunch of hamsters.
What's it called? Oh, yes. Maybe that was the first one I watched.
I don't even remember what it was about.
It was later.
I just remembered always being so excited when it was on.
What's it called? It starts with an H. Hamaguchi. Hamaguchi.
What is that?
I know
what is it?
Hamster anime.
Hamster anime. Yes, Hamtaro. Yes, Hamtaro.
Little Hamsters,
Yes.
Big Adventures.
Yes, I used to watch it.
I remember the one I watched looked more hamstery.
Really?
I don't remember.
This is the one I'm remembering. Hamtaro.
I
don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't remember what it's about though. I just remember hamsters.
Look, hamster babies.
They had babies. They made them look so cute. Wow.
They're hairless.
Real ones are not cute.
They look like little beans.
Maybe you saw an actual hamster. On National Geographic. This is a great anime.
I was just watching National Geographic.
It's like, oh, this is a cool anime.
My voice is truly gone because that's exactly what I told you. And no one heard me. I said it twice.
I didn't.
Oh, this is so funny. I gotta say, National Geographic. And I saw this thing where apparently there was an interview with the creator of HunterxHunter a long time ago.
Oh.
And he was talking about the inspiration behind Gon. So I thought it's a little interesting. Togashi says that he wanted to make Gon a good boy that would dominate the polls for characters you would want to have a son. That is very specific. But as soon as the serialization began, or as soon as he began starting the drafts, he felt like it wasn't right. He broke down the motivations of becoming a hunter to find his dad, and then he figured being a good boy just didn't really make sense in the setting. And a boy who proclaimed that he would abandon his foster mother to become a hunter wouldn't quite be a good son, is he?
No.
So this is one crazy kid, I thought, but I thought it couldn't be helped that he would behave that way, as he was in turn the son of a father who also abandoned his child to become a hunter. So to me, it was natural that he would also be a bad kid. Something like that.
Which is interesting because like I saw somebody kind of break down the characters in
Yeah.
Hunter x Hunter, and they kind of talked about that with Gon. Gon is not he's not like the hero in the situation, and you can kind of see that from when he's on the boat with Kurapika and Leorio for the first time.
Yeah.
When the other crewmates are kind of bullying the other kind of weakling crewmate guy, Gon's not doing anything. He's not trying to save him at all. He just kind of lets it happen.
I don't even remember that scene.
Yeah, and once the one crewmate is the only one who's not seasick enough to do everything, he's doing stuff and then he almost falls off. That's when Gon tries to save him. And then everybody else saves him too. But he's not trying to right every wrong.
Yeah.
He's just trying to do
His thing.
his thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 This is actually what he's saying. He's saying, right here, if I made my protagonist a right proper lad and drawn a battle manga with it, it would raise complications when he has to duke it out, meaning it would be the moral issue there. I thought it wasn't where I wanted to go with the story. And so making Gon a kid with few flaws and someone other than just a purely good kid leads to better conflicts. Togashi explains that layering his personality would allow him to write fun fights. I did not want to alienate my readers who would read for the fights. Thanks to making a crazy kid, like Gon the protagonist, I was able to write battles without having to depict the moral conflicts within the character. So he knows there are moral conflicts. So it's like you're saying, he's not a good guy. He's crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny. I haven't thought like of Gon as like a good character or a bad character, just the main character.
Yeah.
So I've never actually thought about this. The only thing I've thought about with Gon is that he is such a the here and now type of character. What he wants now, kind of like someone in ReZero. It's kind of like what's his name, Subaru, who's like all about what he wants now. But Gon is a little less melodramatic. He's more carefree and thinking optimistically about everything.
Yeah.
And kind of like, I can do this, I can win, I can fight kind of character.
Well, he's not reliving his deaths multiple times. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess.
Inevitable.
Yeah, so Gon's character to me, I don't know, it's a little, I don't want to say shallow, but he's kind of shallow.
He's a shallow person.
Yeah, but so when he does have deep thinking moments, it's like,
You
what?
do that?
Yeah, it's always a shock.
Yeah,
and but I mean, it lends depth to him at the same time.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see the moments when like when he was gonna attack Neferupito, and try and help Kite, and Killua knocked him out and dragged him away. Should we spoiler, by the way?
Okay.
Once he did that afterwards, he thanked Killua. He's like, thanks.
Yeah.
I would have been a real hindrance there.
Yeah.
It's like he does think logically about stuff,
Yeah.
but he is still super emotional.
Yeah. He's like in the moment now reactor.
Yeah.
Read into kind of like Ranking of Kings where they don't talk about the world.
Yeah,
they talk about
yeah.
insinuations, stuff like that. Like when they were talking about they literally saw the god or something in the world spitting out souls after eating corpses.
Yeah.
And
they
never talked
just
about
kind of walked away from that subject.
Yeah. If you're wondering about Ranking of Kings, I mean, this is really as interesting as it sounds. That part is not a spoiler for the show. There's actually a TikTok on it. You can check it out.
Like, bro.
Yeah, I made a TikTok on that one.
Oh, tell me more.
Or TikTok, React City,
and Instagram.
Maybe you should check it out.
Maybe coming soon to YouTube.
Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about before we end up here?
Right. No.
Okay.
I was gonna talk about an anime that I was half watching. You know how I half watch anime
yeah.
where I kind of like I jump in at whatever episode is released the week that I'm interested.
I did not do that, but okay.
I'm just kind of like seeing like where are they now kind of thing. And I jumped into I think it's called Shikimori-san Isn't Just Cute or something like that.
Oh, you told us
Oh,
a little
yeah,
bit about
yeah.
that show.
Yeah, I
before.
jumped back into it and I was like, this is just as boring as I left it.
It's in it, Chief. Please.
But yeah, I watched the last episode and then I left.
2 out of 10.
2 out of 10,
2 out of
basically.
10.
Yeah. Oh, and did I talk about the end of
Spy Family?
Kaguya-sama?
What's that?
No, go ahead.
Love is War.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I did?
No, go ahead.
Well, it ended. No, I did talk about this, and it ended. Pretty much just saying there'll be a season 3, yay! But they kind of got there,
Concluded.
kind of didn't get there. Basically, at the same place they were before.
Oh, one of those.
But a little bit more at the place they were before.
It's kind of like we're trying to get here, and we went.
Kind of forward, kind of not, kind of. Yeah. That's
sounds
it.
awful.
Oh, I could not. I could
But
not.
it's in the best way though. It's not the thing is throughout the series you can kind of tell that they know that the other person likes them. You can tell that they do.
But
they
they're
just
just
don't
being
want to be the first
spiteful.
one to say it.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's some satisfaction in that there is knowledge, mutual knowledge about each other.
There's no triangle.
I don't do that at
I'm
all.
very happy that there's no triangle.
That makes it a little better too. You know what it makes me think of?
Yeah.
People who need to learn to enjoy the process in life.
Yeah?
This is their training ground.
Oh.
Head
You
in
enjoy the
hand.
process. You
Well, I
like the
did.
slice of life.
Yeah.
Well,
You're watching the process.
Yes, you're watching a process unfold.
Sometimes.
sometimes
You know the key to life. Share with us. Or dear sensei.
A lot of patience.
You know, we have like that running gag of how we say you don't know what a slice of life is.
Yeah.
Let's imagine like some sort of just walking by, you're watching like a samurai duel, and like what are you watching? Like a slice of life. Think about cooking. Just something that dies. But yeah, I think that's it. So guys, thank you guys very much for being here. Guys, if you like your time here, please remember to like, subscribe if you want to see more. Remember, leave a comment if you have anything to say about things we said or have any questions, we'll bring it up. There's also the Discord, we can have a quick answer questions, we'll do that as well. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys around. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.